Hi, and welcome to this this session on how to multiply the value of your money without really having to create more money in order to be able to do it. And this is something that is really special and dear to me, because for years I've been wanting to teach people and support people in how they can generate a solid financial future for themselves without having to go out there and get an enormous amount of money, and without having to almost break the bank, if you like. And also the other thing is, without having to go out and get a significant new skill set. And so this is something that I believe that once you understand the concept, and once you start to take action on some of the things that I'll share for you, the future will be much brighter. And again, I'm stressing that you don't necessarily have to go out there and create more money, although you can if you like. And you don't really have to work really hard at trying to learn anything, because it's really just about changing the direction of some of the spending of the money that you already have. And so without further ado, for those who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Counsel, and I'm currently 64 years young. And over the past 4 or 5 years I've been thinking about what's my next sort of adventure in life, and I really now sort of took action on that a couple of years ago, and I've started a new farming adventure in Tasmania. Now, for those people that don't know where Tasmania is, it's the most southern state in Australia, and it meant that I had to move from the west coast of Australia over to the east coast of Australia, and then down to the southernmost tip. And so if you look at Tasmania, it's kind of sort of a little V-shaped thing, and I'm down the bottom, sort of the southernmost corner of that. And it's just been absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to get the house built so I can invite all of the people who want to come and visit this lovely place on the globe. You're more than welcome to come over. Now, prior to becoming sort of interested in wealth creation, I used to be a potter. And I started my potty career, I think it was probably in my late 20s or my early 30s. Maybe it was in my late 20s. And I really took to it like a duck to water, and I had a really good exhibiting career. I was, I gained some notoriety in not only some of the techniques that I was using, but also some of the content that I was putting into my work. And for that I got recognized with a PhD in 1990, and in fact I was the first person in Australia ever to receive a PhD for my pottery work. When I was about 40, in fact it was just a couple of months before I was 40, I really became interested in this whole notion of wealth creation, because I certainly couldn't make a living as a potter. Not in Australia. It's the craft works are not really well supported like they are in other countries, and so I really had to think about understanding money, and that's when I really started to get into the psychology of money and the psychology of social engineering, and how money is, how people are conditioned to use money to their detriment, not to their advantage. And we see it generation after generation after generation. People, even though they work really, really hard at their professions or their careers or their jobs, by the time they get to the retirement age, they're substantially not, as free as they would like to be. And so with that interest, starting from dead flat broke at 40, I generated my first $1 million in 3 years and 8 months. And that was a real sort of seismic shift for me. And since then I've gone on to build $4 million and multi-million-dollar cash flow businesses. And it's the cash flow, not the asset value, that was really important to me during that sort of, building phase and accumulative phase. And then I sort of, put them into assets, and then those assets have actually grown over time. And, you know, when people were asking me, how did you go from being a dead flat broke potter to, you know, a millionaire in such a short time, it's not as though I could sort of give them the answer in sort of 15 minutes. And so I said, look, if you want to sit down in front of me for 4 days, I'll tell you everything that I did from, you know, point A to wherever that point B was. And that's how I began mentoring and teaching people, you know, and something that I'm really passionate about, and I've been doing it now for 18 years. So you're in the right place if you're really concerned about certainly some of the world's politics, and certainly some of the, you know, the wars that are taking place and whether they're going to expand. You're certainly in the right place if you're concerned about how world economies and the news you're hearing about, whether, you know, they're likely to crash or there's a crash imminent, or, you know, whatever is happening. But if there is a crash, how will that affect you moving forward? And so I hope to convey some of that sort of understanding. You're also in the right place if you want to learn how to protect and multiply the value of the money that you already have. And so that's I want to really underline that. It's about how to protect and multiply the value of the money that you already have. And I'm going to use that word you know, quite a few times throughout this presentation, because I really want to separate the notion of value from the notion of just increasing numbers, because increasing numbers doesn't necessarily mean that there's an equal or commensurate increase in value. And that's the mistake that most people think. If the numbers go up, they think that the values are going up, but often it's not the case, and I'll show you why that's not the case, or it's not always the case. And you're in the right place if you want to learn how to increase that value over time, so that your future, regardless of what the economic circumstances are around the world, so that your future is so much more secured and so much more enhanced if you take action on some of the things. The other thing that I'm going to show you is how you can become an active sort of buyer and seller